What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Who You Got With.
Mellow.
And Rado is a sports podcast. We talk about your favorite sports highlights, sports debates, and sports matchups. And it's actually a milestone. Before we begin this episode, it's number 50 for us, 50. Episode 50, man.
Yes,
Congratulations. We did it.
sir. It's been almost a year. We actually started. This is our play-in tournament episode for the NBA. We actually started our first episode last year, around April, because the play-in
How
tournament was a
crazy
little
is
later.
it?
And now, right in the same milestone of where we started, we actually fall on our 50th episode. So it's been a great year.
It's been a great year for the podcast and been able to talk sports with you. And
Mm-hmm.
we got another good one for you guys today. You know, it's NBA play-in time. The
Oof.
playoffs are just about to start, but right before the playoffs,
The play-in tournament, and that's like honestly, a lot of people weren't happy about the play-in tournament. They was like, "Oh, why give a couple more teams a chance?" But at the end of the day, to get that competitiveness, especially in a one-game setting,
yeah,
to start
that's true.
off the playoffs, like why not?
Yeah, I mean,
Why
it makes it definitely a little more exciting. It gives it
not?
that, that soccer feel, with the even like the football feel where it's, one play one, win or you're out, win or you
Exactly.
go home, and it's worth it to watch these teams. Obviously, like they actually give them, two chances for some of the teams, especially the 7 and 8, and we'll definitely give you guys all the details on the playing tournament, because for some people they might not even know how it kind of goes down.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. You want to get right into it and
yeah, I
just
mean,
go.
let's just go ahead and go into it. So the NBA playing tournament is going to be happening April 12th through the 15th,
Yep.
and then we got obviously from the East and the West, from the 7th through the 10th seed, they have to play. So the 7th and 8th seed has to play each other,
Mm-hmm.
and then the 9 and the 10th seed have to play each other.
Yep.
So the winner of the 7th and 8th seed automatically moves to the 7th spot,
Mm-hmm.
and they automatically make it. The loser of the 7th and 8th seed has to wait until the winner of the 9 and 10.
And then they play for the last spot.
Exactly. The 9 and 10, whoever wins that is in for the last game. The loser of the 9 and 10 is out completely. And then the final game would be obviously the loser of the 7 8 and the winner of the 9 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're here to talk about. And it's very interesting because some of these teams, people didn't think that they were going to be in the play-in. There's definitely one team out of each conference that I didn't believe was going to be in the play-in. So
Oh yeah, let's talk about it, man.
let's
We
go.
have
Let's do it.
in the East, in the seventh spot, long away to Brooklyn Nets finally got Kyrie full time. One of the scariest seven seeds you'll ever see, even without Ben Simmons.
Oof. And they're talking about Ben Simmons coming back. So,
Exactly.
oof.
Yeah, yeah. They're playing Cleveland Cavaliers at the number 8 spot. Honestly, started off the season very great, but lost Jared Allen, and from then pretty much been scraping, trying to just find a way to
Yeah,
stay in the
stay in
playoffs.
contention. Yeah, that's true.
Ninth and 10th spot, we got Atlanta Hawks at ninth. Trey Young, somewhat of a year. The roster kind of really didn't take a step up like you would have thought.
They've had a few hits on their roster as well. Collins
Exactly.
was out for a long time, so
And
they've had
I think
hits.
he's still out right now too.
Yep.
Exactly.
So they've definitely had their issues, and then on the other side you got Charlotte Hornets with Lamelo Ball, pretty much doing his thing, but the other guys around him are.
Same thing. They going right back into they made 10th spot last year.
Yep.
But like it's just not really taking that step up from last year's progression.
And even they have guys out like Gordon Hayward. So there's guys that are out on both of those teams, and we'll get into that game as well. And then on the other side, in
On
the
the West, you got Minnesota Timberwolves at 7. Honestly, been having a great year. Carl Anthony Towns, uh, um, D'Lo,
Yep.
and pretty much
Anthony
Beverly
Edwards as well, and
Anthony
Beverly.
Edwards
Yeah,
all been doing the
they've been
thing,
balling
playing
out.
good basketball. And then you got 8. They're facing the Los Angeles Clippers.
Clippers, baby.
Mhm.
Ooh, and
Got PG back, and PG's been looking unstoppable lately. And even without PG, they got one of the deepest benches
for sure, for sure.
in the NBA.
For them to be even in the play-in tournament when they didn't have PG and Kawhi at all, we'll definitely get into that game as well, and we'll talk about playoff or play-in P, not playoff
Play-in
P.
P now,
We'll talk about
play-in
play-in P as well, and then of course in the 9 and 10 matchup, that's a pretty good matchup as well. I mean,
San Antonio Spurs versus Pelicans.
Pelicans. I mean, Pelicans they've been looking hot, and we'll definitely
CJ
get into
McCollum
them.
came and saved their season, and as always, the Spurs just seem to always fly under the radar the last couple of years,
Yeah, but
and just still somehow barely make it in, or
Somehow
barely
it's a
close to make
miracle.
it. Yeah,
It's a miracle how they made it because obviously the team that didn't make it this year, which a lot of people was the betting favorite from the beginning of the year, was the LA Lakers, and
hmm
they are out of it. And of course, everyone by now already knows that they got rid of their coach, and it's a lost season for them. So for the Spurs to be able to get above them, congrats to them. And
for sure.
amazing for all these teams to even be able to get in there. And it is interesting that you do have the 10th spot now that's getting in the play-in. So there's that extra game. So I mean, why don't we just go ahead and get into it? The first matchup.
Oh, for sure. First matchup is probably the best matchup we're gonna see.
Yeah.
Actually, no,
Well,
because the best matchup is definitely gonna be Timberwolves versus Clippers. But this one is just
most
top
competitive.
talent.
Yeah.
Exactly. You got Brooklyn Nets versus Cleveland
Mm-hmm.
Cavaliers. 7 versus 8. Whoever wins faces Boston as number 2.
Yep.
So
Number
whoever
2
wins
seed.
go right to number 7, and then whoever loses has to face the winner of 9 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, they played each other 4 times this year. Nets won 3-1.
Yep. And a lot of those were without Kyrie
Yeah, exactly.
because
Exactly.
two of them were in Brooklyn and they didn't have Kyrie at the time.
Exactly. But right now they do got Kyrie, and that's pretty much going to be the key matchup of this game. Kyrie Irving versus Darius Garland. Because he's had a
It's gonna be a huge
breakout
match.
year,
Yep.
and
For
pretty
sure.
much they're going to be going at each other. And I
Mhm.
definitely want to see that. Because at the end of the day, even though Kyrie Irving's Kyrie Irving, as a team, you have to pretty much put most of your defensive attention on KD.
Well, for sure. I mean,
Like he has to be
he's
the number one. Like you slow him down. Kyrie has a great game. You still might have a chance
because
of
he's
winning.
such a matchup problem as a matchup. Like it's hard to match up with KD. You know, like
Exactly.
you can have guys match up with Kyrie.
That's
but
what I'm saying. You
with
you can
KD,
get
it's
Kyrie a
like,
little off his game. If he still have a great game, but KD doesn't, you could probably still squeak away with a win. But if KD has a great game and Kyrie has a great game, you lost. So it all starts with having to make it harder for KD, which is really
Interesting.
not.
Yeah.
We really can't do that.
That's gonna. I mean, it's gonna be hard for them, but I think they might be one of the teams that has a chance to because
With the
they have
size they have, yeah.
proficient bigs. Excuse me, and they do have a lot of size, like you said. Yeah.
But yeah, no. Garland's coming off his first All Star appearance,
Yep.
and I think he's only 2-3 years in the league.
Deserves it. Yeah.
21 points a game,
Mhm.
8.6 assists. Definitely made a name for himself, and both of them share the same type of shiftiness when it comes to getting around their opponents, him and Kyrie. So it's gonna be a lot of getting to the basket, pretty much pick and roll actions, getting around those bigs. Like I said, they're gonna be going at each other. Obviously, with the addition of KD and Mobley going at each
True,
other. So
true.
I think that's gonna be a good matchups when it comes to just prospective players just at each other's throats. So I definitely think that's gonna obviously be a good game. But it always gonna come down to who's gonna be hitting them shots, other than them two, because obviously KD and Kyrie can go off, but you need someone else to be able to come in and basically that shooter.
Yep.
So because Kyrie and KD is gonna
That's what
fold
they need.
those defenses, you need someone else who, when they kick out, is gonna be able to hit them shots. So
Yeah.
it's gonna
Who
be
do you think that's
interesting.
gonna be?
I
Like,
don't
you
know.
don't know if
That's
they
the
have the
point.
guy. I mean,
it's gonna be Seth. It's gotta be Seth.
That's what I was
It has
thinking.
to
Either
be
Seth or Joe Harris off the bench coming in.
Is
I think that
he
could
back?
Joe Harris is back for this
Okay.
game. Finally, he came back a few games ago
I was
before the
saying,
end of the season.
okay.
So he's finally back, but he's still only getting like 10 minutes a game.
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
that's
I think
only-
it's still gonna be Steph because Joe's not in full. Like,
Of course not. Yeah,
Yeah.
Seth is the main shooting guard there. But honestly, I like what you said there. You made a lot of great points, but I think you're wrong about the KD point because I don't think anyone on the Cavs can really hold down.
No, you
Even
can't.
Mobley, I don't think he can hold them down.
but that's the thing. That has to be your defensive attention.
I do think so,
You
but
have
like
to.
they're gonna have Laurie Marker on him. I think that's what I think they're gonna have on him. And the way the Cavs can really beat him is by their bigs. Like if they have their bigs stretch out and actually shoot and score. Like if they get Marketer out there, if they get Evan Mobley out there, because he even scores at 32% from the three, which is decent, for a big man. I think that they actually have a chance. Like you said, Darius Garland's been playing all pro level. But for Brooklyn, they have no Ben Simmons, but they are talking about possibly bringing Ben Simmons in. Not this game, but they're looking into the future. So for now, they are going to have to, look at guys like Seth Curry. And honestly, for me, this matchup like really depends on a guy like Drummond, because obviously you got the bigs on the other side. Evan Mobley gets his rebounds, but you're going to need Drummond to get at least like 12 to 13, 14 rebounds like that, that game, just to be able to squeak out this game. Because the bigs in this game, if Cleveland's able to get a lot more offensive
They control
rebounds,
the board. It's gonna be a problem.
it's going to be a big problem because they're very good at offensive rebounds and putbacks. And
That's the thing too. Brooklyn really just have no defense. So like you can get Kyrie and KD going, but if you can't stop the other team from scoring,
It's tough. Yeah.
Exactly.
But the one thing that Brooklyn is good at is scoring the three. Compared to Cleveland, Brooklyn scores at 34% and Cleveland's 27%. So that's a big discrepancy. They got 6 percentage points on them, and the guys that obviously score are Kevin and Kyrie. And Joe Harris. Those are the guys that really bring it up, as well as Seth when he came in the trade
No,
deadline.
yeah, no, Seth has
So he
been a
brought
big
it up.
part for that. He's pretty much been their biggest intangible in that Harden Ben trade because obviously you had
You
to
think
lose
so?
Harden
Mm.
and Ben's not playing, so being able to lose Harden and get a shooter like
You
Seth,
need to score. I got
like
you. Yeah.
that,
See, for
he's been
me,
their biggest intangible on their success this season.
I don't think so. For me, because they just got Kyrie back for like all their games now. So I think the scoring came back with Kyrie. I think it's honestly Drummond. They needed a big man that can get rebounds because honestly, sorry, not Brooke Lopez, Blake's, excuse me, what's his name? Blake Griffin. There you go. Blake Griffin was not doing it for them. You know, they needed another big guy, and obviously Drummond came in, and he was the one that they were able to,
Yeah, he's
to
getting
do
you
it.
10 rebounds a
He's
game.
getting more than 10. He's getting like 12 rebounds a game sometimes, like 13 sometimes as a
It's
big
ten
man.
point three.
Yeah, for average, but
Right.
there's certain games where he'll get his 30 minutes, and especially when there's bigs on the floor. A lot of times Brooklyn likes to play small ball. That's their style. They like
Yeah.
to score, but when there's bigs on the floor in this game, they're gonna need it, and that's why for me, like the key player for Brooklyn is got to be Drummond. That's my key player.
Yeah.
That's who I got for Brooklyn, and for Cleveland, it's got to be a guy like Marketing because I see him defending KD. That's what I think is gonna happen in that. What about you?
So I don't really have a key player because I
Mm.
think we already know who the two talented
Right, the most talented.
exactly.
Yeah. I was just going, like different, kind of like not the top players.
Yeah. So for me, my biggest player that I want to pretty much talk about is the absence
Right.
of Jared Allen,
Yes,
and that's
huge.
like that's my key player. It's the fact that Jared because they were in top four in standings and top four in
Yes.
defense
Yeah, good
before
point.
they lost him,
That's good, yeah.
and then they lost him. He lasted 18 games, and after 37-27 start, they're 7-11 after they lost him, and now went from fourth ranked defense to 22nd ranked defense. So
Yeah,
that
they
right
lost a
there,
lot.
having that in the middle to anchor that defense, and was a big reason why they were so hot to start off the season. So I feel like that's one of the biggest storylines talking about Cleveland because they only got one game to perform, and they do not have Jared Allen for that one game.
I mean, I definitely think they needed him.
They
I
did.
definitely think they needed him in this the end of the season and in this game because I agree with you. They shouldn't be in this playing. The last like 10 games of the season, they've been playing pretty bad and they've been moving down in the rankings. Like you said, they were fourth, but just as recent as like a week ago, they were sixth. They were out of the play-in with 2 games above the seventh team. So it's tough that they're already down in the 8th spot, and now they have to go to Brooklyn to play in the playing game. It's gonna be in Brooklyn, so let's go into the predictions. Who you got in this one?
Oh man, like I'll be honest, like I really could not decide with this. It was just like, what do you think, bro?
I mean, I figured because most people.
Yeah, no, I definitely got. I mean, it
But
ain't
why
gonna
don't we
be
give a
scrape
score
pick.
as well?
Yeah, I got the Nets 116-105.
Okay, yeah, so it's a pretty decent win.
Like
It's a pretty decent win.
10 point,
Yeah, I
11 point
mean,
game.
obviously, I agree
Around
with
there.
you because I do think that the Nets are more talented right now.
Yeah, for sure.
And for me, I think it's going to be a little bit closer. I got it a 7-point game, 113-106. I think Cleveland's going to be able to stay in there with the boards and just get a few late points at the end, even though it might look a little bit, a bigger lead towards the end, but they might get a few right at the end. But I still got Brooklyn moving on to the 7th spot, and then they're going to have a crazy matchup with the Celtics. Oof, and I know you're mad about that. I don't even know why you want them to win. Like, if I was you, I would want them to lose because even you said this is the scariest 7th seed ever.
Because it don't matter. The only reason I'm mad is because we don't have Robert Williams. If we had Robert Williams, I would say bring it on. We got to get rid of these niggas anyways. We got to play them or the Bucks eventually.
True.
But
True.
without Robert Williams having to play him and Kyrie in the first round, it's about to be hell. But I'll be honest, JT and Jalen about to lock KD up. And Marcus Smart about to lock Kyrie
we'll
up.
see about that.
You heard me right here.
Yeah, but we'll
before
definitely
we
talk
even
about
get there.
before we get there. Let's slow down a bit and let them win their first game.
So we both predict
Right, let
Brooklyn
Brooklyn get
wins,
their
go
first
off
game.
to face the Celtics. But the reason why I brought up Jared Allen is because if the Cavs lose, they got one more chance to redeem themselves
Yeah,
and playing
yeah,
the winner of Atlanta versus Charlotte. And so Jared Allen is supposed to be very close to coming
he
back.
is. He
So
is.
if they don't, that's why I brought him up because they don't have him for this game.
That's true.
There's
Yeah.
a possibility they still might be able to bring him back for that one game to just at least save their season and get them into the playoffs. And at least at that point, just face the Heat in the first round and see what you get there.
I mean,
from
they're
there.
not a bad team. They got a great record.
That's-
Even if you
yeah.
look at their record, this is the best they've played. Obviously, since they had LeBron on their team, so it's good for them to see them up there. But speaking of who they have to play, the next matchup in, should we go into the next 7-8 or should we go into who?
Let's go because they split up the games.
Right.
So the first game is Nets versus Cleveland, and then right after that, in the same night, they got pretty much Timberwolves versus
Right.
Clippers.
Both 7-8 matchups, basically,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah, in the same night, and that'll be the first night of playing.
Yeah, so pretty much you're getting one team going straight into the playoffs, and another team, even with the lose or even with the loss, they still get a chance to
Yeah.
redeem themselves.
They gotta
So
wait till Friday.
They gotta
Yeah,
exactly. They
so-
gotta see who they're facing basically at that point. So yeah, you already know the deal. 7 versus 8. Timberwolves versus Clipper.
Two great teams, honestly.
Oof.
Like in the West, a tough West. That you would, if you look at both of their records in the East, these teams would be top 4.
Yeah.
Honestly, like the Timberwolves too. Like they're almost got 10 games above 5, or not 10 games. Excuse me, like 7 games above 500. So they're definitely great right now. I just think that this is a close matchup for both of these teams.
This is a very
close.
very close matchup on paper. But here's the thing, Timberwolves. Now here's the thing about these. It's only one game. One game.
That's why it's close. It's
That-
only
that-
one game. It's not a
exactly.
7-game series.
Exactly, because it was a 7-game series. The Clippers won the series 3-1 this year, and Paul George went off in all 3 of those games. He actually, it was the beginning of the season and the end of the season, so he actually played all 3 of those games, and 4 of those
he did.
games,
4,
and they went off, and he went off. But in the 1-game series, it's just that the Clippers are probably the most inconsistent team in this play-in tournament when it comes to a 1-game series.
I remember last
You know what I'm
year,
saying?
man.
They could shit the
didn't-
bed so bad in one game, and it's no. You know what I'm saying? Like they're one
Yeah.
of those teams where they just come
They
out
almost
so
didn't
flat.
win it last year.
That's what I'm
Remember?
saying.
They almost didn't get in.
They have a chance of coming out so flat. So they're probably the one team that could really just shit the bed and just So that's why this is such a close game, even though they won 3-1 in the whole season.
Yeah, I mean,
But pretty much it's
interesting
the
to say that.
story of Paul George versus Anthony Edwards. And that is about to be a great matchup. Because here's the thing about those 4 games that they played. In those 4 games they played, Karl Anthony Towns pretty much only averaged 15 points. They found an effective way to stop him as a team, the Clippers, in those 4 games. So
Yeah.
in those 4 games, they basically had to rely on Anthony Edwards to pretty much get them anything going.
Yep.
They didn't lose. They didn't win most of those games. But in those games, Anthony Edwards pretty much gave them 23 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists on 46% shooting.
That's good. That's real
Exactly.
good.
So he was
Yeah,
the one
scoring over
leading the
23, that's
charge.
good.
So you already know Paul George is about to come back and that's his main assignment starting off the game. You know?
True. He's gonna have to hold him down.
Exactly.
But one thing about the Clippers, they got great defense, and that's one thing they're known for, being a
They're
great
gonna throw
defensive
bodies.
team.
They're actually gonna throw bodies at Anthony to keep Paul fresh.
That's
they
what
got
I-
Batum. They got
I was
Morris.
just
They're
gonna
gonna
say,
throw bodies
honestly,
at
for me, it's gonna be Beverly. Like,
him. No, because they still
man.
got
I don't
they
know.
still
I think-
got
I think Beverly's gonna take Edwards just because Beverly's got long arms, and obviously he's a point guard, but he could still take him. He's got the skills. He's a great defensive player. And he's a pest on defense, like they say. I do think that he's the type of guy that's gonna be able to take off a few minutes from Paul George, because Paul George is a lengthier small forward. Edwards is still a shooting guard, so he's still about 6'3". I think that my man Patrick Beverly could take him. That's what
I don't think so because they're gonna keep Beverly on D-Lo, and when they don't have PG on Anthony Edwards, they're literally gonna throw Powell or Batum.
I can see Batum on him. Yeah, I can see
Yeah,
Batum.
you know what I'm saying. So no, they're gonna want to keep Beverly on D-Lo because, like I said, they found an effective way to keep Karl Anthony Towns ineffective. So at that point,
Yeah, you know what? You're right, because
keep Beverly on D-Lo, make him ineffective, and then as a team, make sure Anthony Edwards has a rough night. you win.
You're actually right because I just did hear that Norman Powell is back for this game.
He's
They're
back.
playing. He is going to be back.
That's what I'm
So
saying. Him and Batum are gonna help
I think
Paul
Norman
George
Powell is
on that
gonna.
wing.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Norman Powell actually. That's
Hmm.
gonna be taking him because you're right. They're gonna need. They're definitely gonna need D'Lo on.
Or
I'm sorry,
Beverly
Beverly
on
on D'Lo for sure. But I think that if my man Paul George can just come in hot and take this win, he's gonna show out again like he has
He
been. But
came
he's.
back on the 29th and it's 22 points, 5
I mean that.
rebounds, 6 assists, 2.8 steals on
I
52%.
get it, but this is like remember he's been injured all year. All year
Yeah.
he's been injured. He's not been playing like himself. He's obviously doesn't have the best average this year. Probably one of the lowest average in the last like 7 years that he's had. And he's got other guys to help him. Terrence Mann is out there. Batum, like you said, is out there.
Hmm.
I mean, you got other guys
For sure.
that can score
They
still.
got the deepest roster.
The deepest roster and one of the best coaches, honestly. And I'm just gonna say it for Doc to get him up there, even in the
Lou.
playing. I'm sorry,
Lou.
for Tyronn
Yeah.
Lue to get him up there, you know, I think that it's amazing for him. You know, he should definitely be considered coach of the year.
For sure,
It's,
100%.
above the Lakers, above like so many other teams that even
Without
New
most of their
Orleans.
stars, as I'm saying, they're deep and they know how to play well with each other.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I definitely think that's what they need. And for me, Cat's been playing amazing all year. You know, he's been averaging 26.6, but I think that the defensive factor is going to be huge, and the Clippers can definitely take that. And the key player for me is Paul George for Clippers and Anthony Edwards for Minnesota. Those are two guys that are going to have to step up in this game. Obviously, like you just read off Anthony Edwards' stats, and
Yeah.
that's why I think I agree with you. I think he's going to have to be the key guy, but playoff P is gonna have to turn into play-in P. He's gonna have to turn into play-in P and
We'll
take
see.
over.
And I think he can. And honestly, for me, my key player is Ty Lue.
Mm,
'Cause like I
that.
said, he found a way in 4 matchups to make Cat average 15 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
And make him ineffective. So that's what I'm saying. Like, he is gonna be the biggest intangible for that whole matchup because what if he can find a defensive scheme to pretty much make that whole team ineffective, along with Paul George getting hot, that's the one right there.
No, that's true. I mean, I think that Powell is definitely going to be a huge jump for them because he averages like 13 points when he's like last year he did. Obviously, this year he's been only in like a few games here and there, so he doesn't have enough enough stats to really show it. But Terrence Mann, he stepped it up this year.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of people saw him in the playoffs last year. He had that 50 spot in the playoffs. And him coming in, this season, almost averaging 20, he's just inch into that. And he's a big, big reason why, they're making this push. I definitely think that, him stepping up is going to be huge for them.
For sure.
And that's why, honestly, in this prediction, I know who I got in this one. I think it's going to be a close game. I think that it's going to be very close. I got it a 4-point game. And I think that it's going to be the Clippers moving on top.
Okay.
I think that they're going to move on. And it's going to be a very close one, though. What about you?
What's the score, though?
104 to 100 is what I got. I think it's going to be a little bit lower. It's going to be a defensive battle.
I think the same thing.
Yeah.
I got Clippers as well. Nice. 109 to 98.
Ooh, 109-98. Okay, so it's a 3-point game, right?
No.
Oh, 109. I'm sorry.
That's
I thought you said 101. My bad. I thought you said 101.
11-point game. They're going to pull away towards the end.
Yeah.
They're going to pull away.
That's a big win, yeah. So, okay, so we both got it the same way then. And,
still going to be 90 to 100-point game.
Yeah.
Definitely defensive game.
Yeah.
On today's standards.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if it's in the 90s, then that's for sure. And I mean, that's going to be a good win for them and a good way for them to get some time off and, get all their players back to health.
Because they're going to have to face Memphis if they move on. And if
you know who they're talking about bringing back.
Exactly, they're thinking about bringing back Kawhi. Yep. And if they lose, or whoever do lose, if it's Timberwolves or if it's Clippers, will pretty much have a chance to redeem themselves.
That's for sure.
For 8th spot.
For 8th.
And then they'll have to face the Suns. So either way, Clippers got a problem if they win or lose. Same thing with Timberwolves.
I think both of them do, and it's tough because both of these teams they were above the 9th and 10th spot teams. If you look at the standings, they were actually 6 games above the 9th and 10th ranked teams. So if you look at it in the East, I think the play-in actually made sense this year, but in the West, it doesn't really make sense just because the discrepancy between all the records is crazy. Like obviously even the Lakers had a chance to get in there, and they have like a losing record. You know, with they're like 6 games below 500. So yeah, I just didn't like seeing that. But let's go into the 9 and 10 matchup.
Oh yeah, let's go back to the East for 9 to 10. We have the Atlanta Hawks versus the Charlotte Hornets, and that's about to be a game. Obviously, the winner versus this faces the loser versus
Brooklyn.
and Cleveland, and the loser of this is go home.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's it.
This is the first time in the play-in or the first game in the play-in where
That's
if
right.
you lose, you go home. So we'll definitely see that. This is a great matchup, even as hell.
I think
Series
so too. It's gonna be a
tied 2-2.
shootout.
Trey Young versus Lamelo Ball. Like, come on, you can't get any better than
Yeah, your
that.
boy
All-star
LaMelo.
point guard battle. Like, it's about to be dope. I'll be honest. So they played 4 games. It's been 2-2. Obviously it's been back and forth. Young though has been a little off in those games. I mean, I'll be honest. When you got a tall ass fucking point guard like Lamelo, just always on you.
It's tough.
And when they
Very
try
lengthy.
and they do very good traps coming off the pick and roll.
That's true.
Charlotte's very good in that. So
LaMelo's good at the steals too.
exactly. So he's only shot 37% in those 4 games. And Ball's actually shot 35, which isn't bad for Ball's. Like for Ball, you expect a little more from Trey Young.
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
Trey Young.
I mean, Trey definitely took a step down this year.
Exactly.
Took a little step back. Last year he played way better. Obviously he took a step back in every category, even the 3-point percentage.
Yeah. And obviously that was a rough start. They started off 17-25, but after that, he's actually been hot right now, and he's led them to 3rd-ranked offense, 5th-ranked net rating, and they won 26-14 after that rough start.
That's
so
true.
he found
That's
a way
true.
to turn it around. Not just him, and like I said, they also were losing players like Collins were out for a long time.
Yep.
Still out right now. He missed 23 of the last 27.
Yep.
They also
So even though he missed them, though they've been actually playing decent.
that's what I'm saying. They've been finding a way to turn around without some players.
Somehow they've been actually
And
playing
that's Trey
better.
Young.
Yeah, I
And
think that
he turned it around.
He's definitely held the ball more in his hands and been able to like move around and get more space for sure.
But both of them got key players out right now. Gordon Hayward
that's
is
for
definitely
sure.
about to be out too.
And Gordon Hayward's out for this playing game.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Right now it's gonna be a battle of the guards. But pretty much, I think Lamelo and them young boys are thirsty. So I think we'll see some really good potential coming from the perimeter from both teams. Because I think Miles Bridges has to have a real good game as well.
I think so too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that.
So what about you? What you think
I
about
mean,
this game?
I definitely agree with Bridges. He definitely he has been playing well. Especially the last part of the season, he's been playing very well. I do think that Gordon Hayward being out is going to be tough for Charlotte because they do need another 3-point shooter.
Mm-hmm.
But they shoot 28% from the 3, and Atlanta is shooting 33%, and that's for the regular season. As for averages, you could tell how much better Atlanta is than Charlotte, even though Charlotte has guys like Miles Bridges and like Ball, shooting the threes at a decent percentage. But even Ball, like you said, he took a step down in his threes this year, where you would want him to like take a little step up, at least at 37%, 38%. Obviously, I'm getting into the nitty gritty of just nitpicking a little bit, but
Right.
you would like to see him, move up, in the like learn a little thing from last year. But like you said, they played each other 4 times, and they were all great matchups. Honestly, a lot of them were very close, and I definitely think that Collins, he's going to be a big loss, for them.
Mm-hmm.
They were saying that he might be in a shoot around, but I don't think he's going to play at all, and he's going to be out. So that's going to be huge for them. I think PJ Washington in this game is going to be big for Charlotte, though. He's been very good at the 3, especially the last few games. I've watched like the last 4 games of the season when Charlotte was just trying to get into the play-in, and they moved up, one spot. So I definitely think that he's a big part in what's going to happen in this game. It's going to be tough to see Trey Young out there by himself, though. He doesn't have much help with him.
So I don't think. Well, I don't think he has to be by himself.
Right.
Because for my intangible or my player that has to really step up, it definitely 100% has to be DeAndre Hunter.
Yeah,
he has to be
that's
the
who
one
I
to
have.
help fill in the void.
That's why I have as my key player for Atlanta Hawks is Hunter.
Yep, in the 2 games he played versus Charlotte, 20 points, 54% shooting, 45 from 3. So even though they didn't win, they won 1-1 in those 2 games. he found a way to get himself going when Trae
Right.
Young was ineffective,
Right.
which is needed because they need his defense on the wing, especially with Miles Bridges and Kelly Oubre,
Yep.
and they need
Oubre's been
his
playing good
shooting
too.
on
Yeah.
the perimeter. So he's gonna be the guy that has to step up because, like I said, when Charlotte starts trapping Young, he's gonna be the one that has to find a way to get his shot going.
That's for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think that they're definitely going to try to play some more pick and roll with Young. They're not going to try to do as much 3-point shooting in the beginning because they're not going to need to. They know that Charlotte's not the type of team to shoot that many threes. Uh, so I think that they're going to do some more pick and roll with Capella. Try to get Bogdan out there in the three, Bogdanovich.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's the game plan. That's what needs to happen for Atlanta. They do have a good squad. You know, if you look at their squad, especially for 3-point shooters, they have the guys. Huerter can shoot. Obviously, Gallinari can shoot, and same with Bogdanovich and Kevin Knox, who's on their bench, who gets some playing time now, coming in from New York. He definitely can shoot, but I just think that Trae Young is gonna have to definitely get around 30 points if they need to win.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's gonna have to go off.
Yeah. So for me, I think that this game is gonna really depend on him, and that's why I believe that he can do it. I think that he's the type of guy that can do it. I do think that Charlotte is gonna miss a lot of their threes towards the third and fourth quarter, and this game is gonna really depend on really Hoarder, like you said, who's my key player, and also Young, who I think is gonna score over 30, and that's why I got Atlanta winning 121 to 112. Charlotte.
That's what you got.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a high scoring game though. I do like Atlanta. I do think that they're gonna take it.
All right. I got a 124 to 113 win by Atlanta as well.
Oh, okay, damn. So
Yeah.
we're in agreement already. All three games
I
so
know,
far,
yeah. So,
which
hey,
is crazy. So
I mean, this will probably be the closest one on paper and on the court. So if Charlotte pulls away with this one, I wouldn't be surprised.
I totally agree. I think this will be a shootout, and I think that both of these teams could get hot.
Yeah, exactly.
I just think that the hotter team will be Atlanta right now. At this point, especially without Gordon Hayward, that's a big loss right now. They need another guy that could shoot, and I don't think they have many, especially not in starting lineup.
Yeah. So like we said, whoever loses this game actually just go home.
Yeah.
And then whoever wins get one more chance to redeem themselves versus Brooklyn or winner of Brooklyn and Cavs.
Right.
So definitely love to see that. Either way, it's gonna be a great chance for a showcase of talent from both these teams.
That's for sure. I mean, you're definitely gonna get to showcase, obviously LaMelo Ball and
that's what I'm
Trae
saying.
Young. You know, two young guys in the NBA. You're gonna be watching for the next 10 years.
That's about to be a great matchup. And honestly, another great matchup in the last matchup we're going to talk about tonight. It's still a great matchup on paper and on
for
court
sure.
as well.
And some young
Like, that's what I'm
players and young teams.
They're going to be a real good matchup position wise. Ninth New Orleans Pelicans versus 10th San Antonio Spurs.
Can we just real quick talk about the Spurs for a second? I know I talked about them earlier and said congratulations, but I mean Popovich, how did you do it? How did you get your guys without an All-Star to the play-in tournament? Above the Lakers, the dysfunctional Lakers with 5 Hall of Famers, 3 All-Stars. You know, like how did he do it? Let's talk about it. I just wanted to congratulate him real quick. That's all I wanted to do.
But let me take a second and let's congratulate the Pelicans and CJ McCollum. Supposed to be the worst team in the league. Yeah.
A hell of a
turnaround. 1-12 start, and now
That's
they're
right.
fighting for 10th spot.
And I
Or for
remember
8th spot.
we had an episode on here
And we
talking
thought it
about
was
the
over.
Pelicans, and we asked each other. We were like, during that when they were actually 1-12, and we asked, are they gonna make the playoffs after this tough start? We both said no.
Nope.
And honestly, we could still both be right if they don't win. But
Hey, they found a way to trade for
They found
CJ
a way.
McCollum, and he has literally been the savior. So basically,
no, that's for sure. And they've been 30-10 the last 40 games
the
of
seventh
the season. So.
the seventh
that's
best
amazing.
net rating since the trade.
Right. Yeah.
They literally have been dominant since they got CJ McCollum. So basically, I feel like this game is gonna come down to the last couple possessions.
Ooh.
It's gonna be a real close fought game.
Nice.
As a Pelican against the Spurs,
Mm.
CJ McCollum is averaging 29 points,
Yeah.
7 rebounds, 4 assists, 1.3 steals, 51% shooting. That's in 3
Pretty
games.
good.
Exactly. So basically, and the Spurs won 3 of those games out of 4.
Yep.
So CJ only won 1 and 2 against the actual Spurs. Right. So it's not like they actually won as a team, but he actually went off. But I think even though they're not going to match up every possession, Key matchup is gonna be C.J. McCollum versus DeAndre Murray.
Oh, for sure. I mean, those are
Yeah.
the two guys that they're going to be stepping up this game. Obviously, you got to give it up for Murray for obviously being an All Star this year and having a great year, scoring 22 points a game, 8.4 rebounds, 9.2 assists. You know, almost looking like a triple double career
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
possibly.
And against them three, he against them three games against the Pelicans, he did 18, 9, and 10. So
Right.
and that 9 was 9.8. He was literally probably 2 rebounds away from a triple double average in those
Right.
3 games.
Right. So you definitely got to give some credit for taking this Spurs team, and you know them being a great defensive team is definitely helping them. I think they're top 10 defensive rating team this year, and that's definitely helped them a lot. You know, even in those games, they held New Orleans under 105 points when New Orleans usually scores like 110.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing that San Antonio can do. One thing I'm gonna be worried about is if they can stop McCollum and Ingram because both of
Right.
them are scoring 22 points a game. You know, so it's gonna be tough if you can stop one, but can you stop both of them? They're both scoring pretty well.
And that's the thing. As weird as it sound, is as much as they lost those couple games, they actually found a way to somewhat like 18, 9, and 8 or 18, 9, and 10 seems like great,
Yeah,
stats.
yeah,
But he did that off of 40% overall and 26% from three. So they
it's not
found a way
great.
to
Yeah,
exactly they
but
found a way to make him work for his
it's
and
true.
still win the games. So
It's true
the
because
Pelicans have to find a way to not only do that, but do that and then win the game. Like you know what I mean? Like they found a way to make their best player effective and somehow still walk away with 3 losses. So they're gonna have to find a way to try to make him get off of that line,
yeah,
Murray,
yeah,
go into the paint, try to challenge him with the bigs that they have because they got Valanciunas, Nance Jr.,
Nance. Yep,
Herbert Jones, and basically rely on more of his shooting because his shooting isn't the best.
exactly.
So
That's
we'll
true.
definitely see how they can do that.
Yep.
And here's the biggest thing though: is Murray is coming back from that respiratory issue, so he's not going to be 100%.
No, he's not, but I think he'll play decent enough in this
Oh, he'll
game.
play his whole game like his
Yeah,
regular game, but his
he's
his
it's still gonna
his
be a little
his
issue.
stamina can't be there.
It might
Like,
not be 100%. He'll be like 95%, but I think that I mean you got to look at the Pelicans as well. Like they've been, like we said, one of the best teams in the league since the All Star break.
mm-hmm,
30-10 in their last 40 games, and obviously the Spurs definitely have to use some great schemes if they wanna stop them.
mm-hmm.
If they wanna if they make somebody other than Ingram and McCollum score, then they can actually win this game. They actually really have a chance to win this game if they can actually hold McCollum down under that 20-point mark and hold Ingram down like to around that 20-point mark. You know, because I know Ingram likes to score low. He likes to shoot more shots. So I think that both of them are gonna get their shots, but if they can make them is the question. Because the
Right,
San
right, right.
Antonio defense, especially on the outside, is very good. They hold teams down to 27% from the three, which is one of the best in the league. So I definitely think that if they want to win, that's one thing that they definitely have to do. For me, the key players for New Orleans is going to be Brandon Ingram if they want to do good, because I do think McCollum is going to be held down by Murray. And from the other side, I think Murray is going to be the key. If they want to win, San Antonio wants to win, Murray has to go off, and he really has to show out this game, maybe even get a trip dub.
Okay, so for me, it's Greg.
Okay, yeah,
They
okay,
basically they have to find a way to get their dribble drive uh, working because at the end of the day, they're not only 26 and threes made per game, but that's literally not in their bloodline.
mm.
That's not in their
Yeah, that's not what
that's
they
not
do.
what they
That's
do.
not. I mean, they love scoring the twos. That's what they're so much better
Exactly,
at.
exactly.
That's
And
for
in
sure.
the
Yeah.
the 4 games they won, or the 3 games they won, they only shot 29% from outside.
Mm.
So they have to find a way. And that's the thing. I know the Pelicans are going to come tomorrow and find a way to keep them out that paint. Um,
That's for sure.
make them shoot middies, make them shoot threes, and Greg has to find a way to pretty much counteract that. Because at the end of the day, you might say, "Hey, we won 3 games against one," but on paper, even with DeAndre Murray, like him not being 100%, looking at the stats from the games, like most people will have to say that the Pelicans are a better team.
Well, for sure. Even on
Exactly.
paper, they have a deeper squad if you look at
Exactly.
it. But guys like Diop can definitely help Murray out. He's been playing very well for the Spurs, and that's what they're gonna need a lot from him, honestly.
And I think the Spurs were third in driving per game. So literally the Pelicans' only job is gonna have to get them out the paint.
Right, and that's one guy that I think that can help. For me, I think the key is gonna have to be the 3 pointers of the New Orleans Pelicans compared to the 2 pointers of the Spurs, because like you said, we both know the Spurs are very good at the twos, but
Mm-hmm.
New Orleans is very good at the three.
Exactly.
Obviously we know McCollum and Ingram both score, so that's gonna be my key for both of these teams. And for me, I actually have this as a blowout. I think it's gonna be
Jesus.
109-96, and I think
Jesus.
New Orleans is gonna take it because their threes are gonna take over, and they're gonna start hitting them. And after that, it's gonna be a 3 versus 2 battle, and the Spurs are not gonna be able to come back.
Wow.
So it's a 13-point game for me.
I got a 106 to 101 win by the Pelicans. Same. But it's just mine is coming from a couple free throws, so I think it's gonna be a real close game.
Okay, yeah,
Like
yeah.
you know,
You got it
two,
close,
3 point game to the last couple possessions,
Oh, okay,
and
yeah.
then they're gonna, all right, we lost. Let's get a couple free throws.
Oh wow! So for me, I think this might be the only blowout that we see this in this playing games, because I do think the other ones are going to be closer until the end, But this one is going to be a blowout for me, the way I look at it, the threes versus twos.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. And especially if the Pelicans start coming out hot, the Spurs won't be able to catch up.
That's true, but I mean, still got to give it to Popovich, man. Popovich and Becky Harmon, out there doing work, balling out. He's probably got to be up there for Coach of the Year as well. I mean,
Yeah.
to even get especially if he makes it. And imagine if he actually wins both these games, and somehow the Spurs, make it as the 8th spot. That'll be insane to watch. But it's gonna be crazy to see what happens in these playing games, and I know you guys are gonna be watching it.
I just want to say for the record, this might be the first time ever we had a whole episode where we picked the same.
That is true,
Every
though.
single
I was
thing.
just thinking that. I was like, damn, we picked everything
We picked
the same.
every single thing the same, and I don't think that's ever happened before.
And most of the time, we don't tell each other what we
we
picked.
don't. We never tell
don't
each other
like
what we picked.
unless it's like a big matchup, like for a Super Bowl that we just want to know about. But we don't tell each other who we picked beforehand. So
Yeah,
that's crazy.
yeah, because we like to just see where we're at. You know,
Right.
that's part of what we do.
Exactly.
So yeah, this is definitely the first time we picked.
That's
everything the
crazy.
same.
Both of us picked the same.
Hey,
playing.
we
So
better
let's
be
hope.
right.
Hey, let's put money down on Vegas.
Because
Hopefully
I
we
was
win
so
something.
mad when you pretty much won 3-0
Oh,
in
yeah,
the UFC.
That's right. UFC
I was like,
273
God
and
damn,
went
'cause
3-0 in
we
that
be
one.
low key keeping track of our predictions. And so I was like, there, he went 3-0.
And don't worry, we're gonna do a yearly run back, a replay of a lot of our predictions that we did. I know that the playoffs are coming up, so during the playoffs, I'm gonna throw in a few episodes in where we're throwing our predictions from the beginning of the year and then match them up to what we're saying now. So that's gonna be interesting for us to do, and we might even do some reaction videos to what we said previously. We'll see. We'll definitely keep you guys updated, but we want to appreciate you for watching this episode, the playing episode. It's NBA playing time, so
And
I
right
know
after that,
I'm excited.
right into the thick of the playoffs. It just really all right, NFL was spicy this year in the playoffs. It was very, very competitive.
Yeah, very competitive, close.
But the
close
NBA playoffs is a whole nother game, and I just love it.
There's already some crazy matchups that are already decided, and after this play-in,
The
there's
4
gonna be,
and 5, like Bucks versus Bulls, and Warriors versus
I think it's
the
Denver.
Nuggets.
Yeah.
Yeah, like come on.
Yeah, I mean those are amazing matchups.
Dallas versus Jazz.
That's an amazing matchup because Dallas is actually the home team there.
That's
so
what I was saying.
there's some
like
great
yes,
matchups.
we got some great matchups already.
Plus,
I
you don't know
definitely can't wait.
who the second seed is playing in the East. Is Boston gonna have to play Brooklyn? We'll see.
Exactly.
But
So
you
that
know
would
what
be a
we
great matchup.
said,
Yeah.
and we're gonna be back with another episode for the playoffs for sure, and we'll let you guys know, keep you updated with our predictions. But
sure.
like I said, thank you again for watching this episode. You can catch us on YouTube if you want to watch the episode. If you want to just listen to us, catch us wherever you get your podcast or on social media.
You already know where to catch us. We're on all platforms, whether it's listening, watching, and social media, man. And we love interacting with our fans. We love bringing you guys good content. And like I said, right in the thick of it, of NBA playoffs. Got a couple good UFC fight cards coming up. Couple good boxing matches coming up. And at the end of the day, we've had an amazing offseason already for the NFL.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely talk about it.
About to come out to that draft coming up real soon.
A lot of quarterbacks
so
moving
we got
around.
some good content coming up, and it all starts here, and it all starts with this NBA playing.
That's right.
So we
love y'all
We
love y'all being with us here, and we'll catch y'all in another episode of Who You Got With
Mellow.
and Rado. See you guys next time.
Peace.